On the set of axes provided, sketch the graph of f of x equals -2 times log e of x divided by 3 plus 6. Clearly label any axial intercepts with their coordinates and asymptotes with their equations. So before we can discuss the transformations that have occurred to this graph, we actually need to factorise the part inside the log so that we take the 1/3 that's multiplying the x out as a common factor. So once we've done that, we're left with f of x is equal to this equation, and we can start now to discuss the transformations that have occurred. So the negative sign out the front results in a reflection over the x-axis. The 2 is a dilation by a factor of 2 from the x-axis. The 1/3 inside the log results in a dilation by a factor of 3 from the f-axis, or the traditional y-axis. And finally, the plus 18 is a translation of 18 units in the negative x direction. And it's this translation that tells us where our vertical asymptote is. So instead of being at x equals 0, this vertical asymptote is now at x equals -18. Next, we can go through the process of finding any x or y intercepts. So the y-intercept is going to occur when x is equal to 0 in our rule. And that gives f of 0 is equal to -2 log e. And if we put 0 into this, we're going to have 0 divided by 3 plus 6. Therefore, f of 0 is simply equal to -2 times log e of 6. And we can't simplify that any further. All we need to know is that's a negative number. But if you did put it in your calculator and ask for a decimal just to get a feel for that number, it would be approximately -3.58. Next up, we want to find the x-intercepts of the graph, and that occurs when y is equal to 0 in our rule. So we now have the equation 0 is equal to -2 log e of x on 3 plus 6. And now if we divide both sides by -2, we simply find that the log e of x on 3 plus 6 must equal 0. And one of our log laws, we can recall, says that log a of any base of 1 is equal to 0. Therefore, we can reduce this equation down to x divided by 3 plus 6 is equal to 1. So all we needed to do there was equate the part inside the log with 1, because we know that would give a value of 0 for a log. Solving that equation will give us x is equal to -15. So now that we have our x and y intercepts and we know the transformations that have occurred, we can now put a graph onto our set of axes. So instead of our log graph looking like this, we know that it's been reflected over the x-axis. So our log graph is going to instead look like this, where the x-intercept here occurred at -15, 0 as a coordinate, and this y-intercept was at x is 0, y is equal to -2 log e of 6. So that's the graph of f of x in this question.